Thank you.
Well, very nice small voices. Speak a little
Louder.
so that it's hard. Not privileged to. Hello, Bishop.
Hi, Excellency, good afternoon. Thank you. Karibu everybody. Welcome. Please have your seats. I'm not starting anything with your prayer.
Trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Today, Dr. this morning, we are here to share two things that concern people. Bless God to guide us, bless us, accompany us, and us we are going to share. We are going through Christ our Lord, and our fathers, and our Holy Spirit.
And also thank you for waiting. Thank you for creating your precious time to come here in this boardroom. Moreover, at short notice to discuss the issues of transformation of our people, and specifically the development of KAPATU, the human resource issue, which is a very fundamental program in changing the lives of the people. I would like to thank the Bishop Dominic Eibu and all the team who are the foundation body of KAPATU. I also thank the leadership politically of Karamoja for supporting you at all levels in the development of our KAPATU project. I want to thank the Severino and his team of lawyers for the resilience. And most importantly, of course, I want to thank the Ministry of Education and Sports, and Mama in particular, for having a very strong desire to successfully deliver this project to the people of not only Karamoja but Uganda. Because we are talking about an institution that is not a local institution, but a national institution. I have taken advantage to welcome you and say a few points because I know that we know each other. I didn't think that it's again necessary to do the introductions. PPS doesn't know this team.
For purposes of
Introductions, and then we will get a brief report about KAPATU. Self-introduction.
Thank you. Your Excellency, I'm Alex Okello. I'm the PPS to the Vice President.
Excellency, my name is Karamoja and Hon. I work with the Ministry of Education and Sports.
Sejoma is a commissioner.
He's a commissioner.
Sejoma has grown so old very quickly. When I was in the ministry, was such a young.
You can have grown.
Philip, Principal Advisor at OWC.
Good morning, Excellency.
Each of you were. So, the minister somewhere else, but the Vice President.
I am the Principal Legal Advisor at OWC, and I'm the chairperson of the President.
First of all, to thank the Vice President for the meeting and for providing the necessary support and guidance to this process of the establishment of KAPATU, especially playing a role in representing His Excellency the President. We appreciate. Your Excellency, KAPATU is in progress, despite the challenges that we have, like any other process, always has challenges. But I would like to start by approaching the subject of the consultative meetings that we have had. And the last meeting we had with the First Lady in the State House in Nakasero. I appreciate the fact that you in person was in attendance, and I think the Minister of Education was in attendance. We have put up a working team of staff on the ground that are really helping us to put in place what is necessary in order for us to be able to meet the requirements by the National Council for Higher Education. But despite that, we are facing the challenges in terms of the funding. I know that the President, when he met with the Bishop, gave his commitment of a one-off 30 billion to support KAPATU to be able to move. And I think the Minister of Finance provided the money, 10 billion, in the first quarter of this financial year. So far, we wanted to know, or you help us to guide us on the Minister of Education, to give us direction on what exactly is happening to the 10 billion. Because these were also directives that came out of the meeting we had with the First Lady, directed the PS, Minister of Education, to immediately release the 10 billion shillings. That goes along with the directive for the balance of the 20 billion, which was supposed to be presented through a supplementary. We wanted to know the status from the Ministry of Education, how far they have gone, where is KAPATU, and the supplementary has been captured in the supplementary, so that we see that the directives are being complied with. The other one that is associated with the issue of the funding is the issue of the inauguration. We initially thought that if factors remain constant, we should have been doing the inauguration of the university and its launch on 22nd of October. But this is not possible now because the directives related to funding were not operationalized. We also need the guidance from you and maybe from the Ministry of Education on how we can be able to proceed with this. The third issue is the question of the status of KAPATU. In the last meeting we had with the First Lady, the question was tabled to the Bishop, asking him on what his position was on KAPATU becoming a public university, which he responded in the affirmative, certainly asking that yes, we'd like it to be public university with the Catholic Church as a foundation body. I think this position was preceded by the fact that the First Lady went to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General gave his opinion. As KAPATU, our legal team sat down to look at this opinion and has written to His Excellency the President, giving our view, our interpretation of the opinion. And I think you will guide us on that, but our expectation is maybe the President will resolve on this opinion because we have written directly to him. The fourth point is the question of the transition. There was a directive given requesting that the transition team or committee be constituted, people identified from the Ministry of Education, to be with us in looking at the critical issues that should be dealt with in the transition. So far, this directive, I think, has also not been complied with. So, basically, this is the status of where we are as KAPATU. We are now totally dependent on when the directives will be implemented, considering the question of time. Because the design of KAPATU is creating a lot of excitement and anxiety at the same time. In Karamoja, among the people of Atekera, and I think among other Ugandans. that something is coming, but it's taking long to reach. So we think that this meeting, Excellency, is timely and will help us to move together with the Ministry of Education as a team so that we can be able to deliver the dream of the President to have KAPATU as a nucleus university for Karamoja and to bring transformation to the region of Karamoja and to all our people in Atike. I thank you.
Believe and establishes a private university. But also, there is another way the community can request for. The community can say, we need a public university here. And what are other factors which should be present? Land. The community says, we need a public university here. Then another factor, land. Then the step that the government takes is through the Ministry of Education to go and make assessment. After that, recommend to National Council for Higher Education to make a report. After National Council for Higher Education makes a report, the Minister makes a motion in Parliament, and the university becomes part of the Universities and Other National Institutions Act. It becomes part of those universities. So in this case, we think that all those steps, the first ones especially, have already been taken over by events. The community asked for the university long ago. There is land, there is also some activity already. So that means that on the side of the community, very many miles far in terms of extending to them the need for the university in the area. So now these issues which the MP has raised, we discuss with Mama. They also discussed these issues with Musei. That time I was in the village, that you met Musei. I was doing some work in the village. But the meeting which I attended and everything was clear was the one we had with Mama in Nakasero. And in all the 4 issues raised, for instance, the first one was the issue of what?
Funding.
Immigration is the second one.
Yeah, funding.
The first one was funding. The first one was funding. The issue of the funding, the university was already given by writing, by directive of His Excellency the President, 30 million. In writing, I'm one of the people who is privileged to always be copied that letter. So I always get a copy. Only the ministry was directed to extend 30 million to KAPATU for the work which is already ongoing. I have my copy there in the office. You know that His Excellency the President supports private institutions, health, education, or in other sectors, because the products of private institutions still come back and give us services. When you go to a hospital, for instance, you don't ask that, this doctor who is treating me, are you from a private university or a public university? Do you ask that? That's the reason why the President treats them equally. He wants quality assurance from all these institutions. And when they come to him asking for a bailout, asking for some support to enable them to implement your requirements in terms of quality, in terms of training equipment, in terms of hiring PhD lecturers, Musei normally listens. We were together there and we know how we are supporting different institutions, which we cannot discuss here. So I think in the same vein, took the same stance to say let's support KAPATU also. knowing very much that KAPATU even falls in an area which is more requiring because of the so many things which you cannot discuss them here. Karamoja now is a peaceful area. People are concentrating on their livelihoods now. There is no one who is thinking about stealing again, like it used to be some time back. So your responsibility now as a team from the Ministry of Education is support Mama and Jose to help to do psychological disarmament in Karamoja through education sector. The Ministry of Agriculture is doing that through livelihoods. Ministry of Health is also doing it by provision of quality health services. We have seen the Ministry of Energy is doing the connection of this electricity there, and tarmac roads, the yellow package. That is now psychological disarmament for the people. And once you deal with psychological disarmament, we shall never return to that problem which we had inside Karamoja and all the neighboring areas. But once you slacken, then you give windows and ventilators to the Karatuna to keep on reflecting back on how they used to live their lives by stealing. And then you will be putting them into temptation. So I think that's how that big figure came up, in my view, because the president normally gives 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion, but when I saw 30, I think it's because of those circumstances. But if you compare the money government has spent in Karamoja for peace and security, that 30 is just a drop in the ocean. So Mr. Sejoba and the Assistant Commissioner, the brief explanation that I can give you on how I think the 30 billion came because of those circumstances. The Karamoja issue is not an ordinary issue. It is an issue that affected Teso, Bugisu, Sebe, Lamo, and Acholi. Those Karamoja neighbors all those regions. And it affected Kenya, the Turkana, and the Pokot. Affected Sudan, the South Sudan, the Northern. So we want to cure it once and for all. Those are the lenses with which we want you to look at the situation there in Karamoja, to cure that situation once and for all. So the purpose of this meeting is to really bring you, Mr. Sejoba and your Assistant Commissioner, fully on board and make you understand that when Mama and Jose speak, they know a lot about Uganda and all corners of Uganda. So when they speak, we should learn very quickly to implement their desire in our offices where they put us. It would have been very shameful for us to go back to her again, to repeat the same points. That's why I said, let me first have this meeting as one of the people who comes from that side, and niece of the people from Karamoja. So I said, let's do the meeting, then I give a report. We expected to have a PS herself here, but she's out of the country, but we could not postpone the meeting. Because I know the commissioner is in charge of a vote. So you are actually the right man to guide the commissioner, to guide the PS in terms of what the outcome of this meeting will be. So that when you are aligning your figures and statistics in your work, you are understood deeply, and you are very consistent and impatient about taking action on KAPATU. There may be the issue of a constituency calling for Moroto. Then again, what are we doing in Kotido, in KAPATU? I think that issue was responded to by Mama, that if the people of Karamoja have decided the leaders, the technical teams, there is consensus that let government have public university in Kotido, which is KAPATU. So be it. That will not constrain you from completing the Constituent College in Moroto. And the best example is in Soroti and Arabai. Arabai campus was established in Teso with a view to growing it into a university. But there was a negative response from the population. The population said they are deceiving us with the Constituent College. We requested for a fully fledged university, which we want to participate in establishing. Even if it means beginning to be sweepers, beginning to be office messengers, but when we are saying establishing a public university, and that's a political connotation. So that's the same case with Karamoja. You can leave the ministers of Karamoja and the political leaders of Karamoja to deal with that one. I am sure they will solve it. For everybody in Karamoja to say, Constituent College will not stop, but a fully fledged university in Karamoja has arrived, and we need only to embrace it. You know, when we put Soroti University as a standalone, the issue of the university for the region stopped coming up in politics. But you know that you have only one school now of medicine, even other faculties are not yet there, but people are happy. They know that with time, other faculties will also be there. So it is the same model that we want you to adopt for Karamoja, so that issue is put to rest once and for all. Not only for politics, but also for the practicality of the programs which are in KAPATU, which will liberate the Karachuna, because they will get the skill to go and work in the cement factory. They will get the skill to do small enterprises in their small towns. They will get the psychological knowledge to understand that now they must stop nomadic pastoralism and do settled agriculture. And they become very useful citizens like you. So on the issue of funding, it is very clear that we are behind schedule and we need your support. On the issue of the inauguration, when the money is there, then the inauguration will be done. You will have to give us a timeline when the inauguration can take place. And you know that the president is the one who will go and inaugurate the university. And may need, after you have made a timeline, the resources are available, then we go and brief Mama again and we say about the inauguration. But it's a very important step that again will reawaken all the children of Karamoja, all the stakeholders around Karamoja, to understand that government is speaking the language of integrating Karamoja to the rest of Uganda, and as much as it is acting, not just speaking. The status of KAPATU, from the private to the public university, you know how it has been done before. We did that for Mountains of the Moon. We did that for Kampala. The foundation body for Kampala University was Catholic. No, Anglican. It was Anglican. The foundation body for Mountains of the Moon was Catholic. But it was done smoothly. And those foundation bodies are still part and parcel of the university, in one way or the other. So the issue of status of the university, there is a president already on how private university was transformed into a public university. The transition. When we were with Mama, and Mama said that if the people want this university to be public, so be it. So by now we should be having a task force. We did a task force in Muni, we did a task force in Soroti, we did a task force in Kampala will be the task force in Lira, Gulu, a thin task force to operationalize the transition from private to industry. And the purpose of the task force is to make both sides understand their terms of reference. Both sides understand what you are looking forward to from them. The organization want to understand that this is what this is supposed to be. Meanwhile, the ministry also is being given the view of the foundation through not the interpretation of the Attorney Generals. It is supposed to be a smooth process and a community-owned process. So I think that this meeting should promote itself today on how we should move expeditiously so that we produce results. I believe in meeting solving problems rather than letters, which are copied to me in most cases. But me, I trust that a meeting is more productive. And that is one of the reasons I said, let's have a meeting again. Let's not tire to continue having meetings. So in the 4 issues which is raised, that's my guidance. The 4 issues which is raised. Parliament is supposed to do parole. We are going to go for nomination anytime. So we think that the task force should have already landed back, given the report to you, you give the report to the National Council for Education, then National Council for Education makes their recommendation, and then we expect that Mama moves this motion. If we go for Parliament is prorogued. The Vice Chancellor there is very knowledgeable already. So the task force will just go and do formality. Just go and do from not beginning from nowhere. It will be just doing formality. They could even do their work in 1 week or 2 weeks and bring a report. The stakeholders involved in this, some of them, many of them are revolutionaries. They know the history of the country. I am very certain that's why General Salim Saleh is very interested in operationalizing this. So for us who have been given the opportunity to be in the offices, I think we should move fast. We can now hear from the PS. Mr. Sejo Bango was so young that time.
Thank you very much. Say 2 things. One is that yes, of course, I've grown older. That is true also. but I also keep my hair, which is not the normal thing these days. Most people don't. So for me, I keep my hair.
Some people paint their
but also on the other part, to indicate to you, Your Excellency, that I happen to be the son of somebody who was, because they still is, a good friend of the people of Karamoja. That's the right interpretation to say.
So you understand that?
So I understand.
And even speak some
I think because Matikasha wasn't there at the time, so I missed some of them.
That's very good to hear.
So I understand. But I've also, in the last, I think, 4 or so months, I have learned the gospel according to Honorable Abraham, and I have appreciated the Karachunas and the whole scenario there. But on a more serious note, Your Excellency and my Lord Bishop and senior colleagues here, to note one, that the Ministry of Education is very committed to supporting His Excellency the President and Mama on what they have committed to do in regard to KAPATU. And so going to the issue of financing, I would just like to bring to the attention of the meeting and Your Excellency that yes, we have a budget of 10 billion was programmed for this financial year. But Your Excellency, as you may know, money under in government is released quarterly, and as of this release of second quarter for this year, the ministry budget is performing at 45%. So that means that we have not even reached the 50% that we should be at, and that constrains the releases for the various budget lines in there. So the ministry is still committed, provided it has the funding, it will release it as it is. So for now, because the money now comes under the different categories, and you are not able to move money across lines. What is wages, what is non-wage, and what is subvention is, and KAPATU falls under subvention. So the release for subvention will determine how much money can be able to go to KAPATU, because there are a number of subventions that have come through. So I want to dispel the thinking that the ministry is sitting on the money which has been released. The money hasn't been released in total as such, and there have been occasions, for instance, where the Ministry of Finance will release money and it comes with instructions, and that one nobody will deviate from that kind of instruction. So if they say, no, this is your allocation, now allocate. So and then the money is little. So that is the challenge. Otherwise, there is no reason not to give KAPATU its money. But just to appreciate those quarterly releases. So if we got extra money for this second quarter, we might be able to. But if we are still at this level, that is the only challenge that happens. That what KAPATU will get will not be the full balance of the 7 billion. That is the challenge. On the issue of the supplementary, I think that is still work in progress, because I think the number of supplementary items that the ministry is looking at, and our Department of Education Planning is working on programming the supplementary for consideration by the Ministry of Finance. And so, of course, inauguration is on the other side. I think it is just the issue of financing, and then we shall be able to work on that. And I think that ties in with the issue of the transition team. And I would say, and possibly I think at this point, I think just to apologize that I think that the transition team has been taken off. I think we had a bit of time trying to sort out this initial funding, that we sort of took eyes off on the bigger thing of putting a transitional team, because as this whole team, we have had a bit, a long time here going this way, going there. So I think when the PS returns next week, I'm going to indulge her that we make sure at least, because in the meeting we had with Mama, this was put at the office of the Permanent Secretary. So when she returns, I'm going to flag it, because really it's about naming 1, 2, 3 people to join the other team. I think this should not be a difficult process. So I'm sorry on that one that has delayed, and we should be able to pick it up along the way. So I think that the status, I think the Honorable discussed it, and they have already written to the President. So I think on that one, on the guidance, on the opinion by the Attorney General, I think we shall wait for further guidance on that one. But I think that the transitional team should be able to be in place quite soon. Otherwise, Your Excellency, you are one of us, so the processes you know very well, and yes, we are going to ensure that we work on them and help us get them. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency.
Any member who would like to make a comment on KAPATU? What is it and when? What is and when?
Your Excellency, what I can say for now is the funds that are available as soon as we acquire the cashiering services. And the finance committee of the ministry is coming. So for the funds that are available, those ones should be able to come out in the next 2 or 3 weeks. What's available. Now, the issue of getting the full amount that is now needing requesting for additional funding. What's available from the next 2 weeks.
Your Excellency, I find it difficult. He talks as if Uganda is a dark room and there is only one source of light, he himself. This is what passes me. Because Madam Vice President, it's not true that the Minister of Finance has not raised money. That's not true. We hope he will find time to apologize for that. The Minister of Finance released 10 billion in the first quarter. The Minister of Finance has released the money. The question is, why can't they release it? The explanation he is taking, Your Excellency, I think we take a very strong exception to it. It's not correct. I would also like to say this, Your Excellency, that under our law, when the President makes a directive, that directive is an order that must be complied with. It's not subject to amendment. It's not subject to discussion. The Commission and her ministry, especially after the First Lady has made herself even very clear. By the time the First Lady made herself very clear, they had the money, 10 billion. So when the Commissioner comes here and he tells us, this is a dark room, nobody else knows, and so money has not been released, that's not very correct. I think he needs to be honest and speak the truth. Secondly, the question of the supplementary budget. Your Excellency, we want to be on record. The supplementary budget for the Ministry of Education has been submitted. KAPATU is not there. Can he provide an explanation? So when he comes and he pretends to talk politely, Your Excellency, when we know there are issues he is not speaking to, and he knows that there is an order, there is a government, there is a president, and there is only one president, we do not understand how best to put him into context. I thought I didn't need these words to go and respond to transition. Your Excellency, a transition committee as directed by the First Lady did not require money. In fact, Your Excellency, on our part, we even have the terms. We even made some communication. Whatever the First Lady directed, we performed our part and transmitted the documents to the Ministry of Education. So it cannot be true that the Commissioner sits here, Your Excellency, he begins talking all the things that he's talking about. He needs to know that we all occupy this country, we are all citizens, there is one president, there is one government. He needs to understand it in those terms.
Your Excellency, out of respect
Let's
to you
listen to
and
second comment,
my
and then you respond.
Lord the Bishop.
The offer, once-off offer on funding is so clear. Now, as we discuss what has been provided for by Minister of Finance, the supplementary process is time-bound. We are in a political season now. Once Parliament goes, it's prorogued till the next, till after elections, we will have missed. So how are we going to?
Until after May.
Until after May.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the question we're asking the question we're asking the Ministry of Education, as the train left the station, can we catch this train to make sure that KAPATU supplementary funding is in the request? Because when you go to finance, they will show you that the Ministry of Education is not submitted. So what is, like we say, today's Friday. So can we say by Monday, this requisition from Ministry of Education will include KAPATU for the remaining? Then we come now and discuss the 7 or so billion now out of the 10. When is it coming? Now the commissioner is saying, yes, when the money came, whatever money came, it looks like Minister of Finance did not give express instructions on KAPATU. Therefore, the money could have been released, but it was absorbed and reprogrammed in what he calls subventions and so forth. So it was not expressly. So is it now that we now have to get finance when they are making this release, or to make themselves absolutely clear that this should go? It's not one of those you can divert for anything else. There should be no commingling of funds along these votes. Why? This now takes me to the next point, meaning there are 2 action points. One is supplementary time frame. When will this go to finance, and make sure that in a transparent way it includes KAPATU, who will fall out from finance. Okay. The second is that when it is released, you seem to be saying it will be helpful if it comes with express instructions that this is designated for KAPATU. Maybe that's another area action point. Now, point number 2 on launch. We are definitely, like you said, it has been affected by this delay in releasing funds. Nonetheless, it should take place. Imagine what it would have meant if, while the president is in the region next week after Chole, what would have been a perfect time. And now we must bring him back before voting. This is a vote catcher. It's a very significant. And not only inauguration, our teachers in the region, that's a low-hanging fruit, needs to have been upgraded by now. And the only institution where we are pushing this, you had a teacher training college there, and within Kotido, which was phased out. So the lecturers are there, the vice chancellor is here, everybody is in place. So part of this is among the learning fruits that should be seen is these teachers that must now be upgraded. Imagine many miles away, where will they go to get that upgrading? Because they are being phased out. Now the Karachunas program, when it is through the DIT programs of the ministry, okay, see what they have done with fencing the house of the bishop, the blocks they made, and the way now it's translating in their own villages, those who participated. So we are trying to absorb as part of DDRR, disarmament, demobilization, resettlement, reinsertion of these Karachunas back in society, so that they get into more gainful making money in terms of wealth creators. So there are things that needs to be done immediately. And when things are happening, so like there are circles now, district circles, they are very organized now. So when this happens, because in the past they fall out of school, where would they go? Trading industry. Now from the gun economy to an employment economy. So the skilling program, so we want the Ministry of Education once for all to get out of, if there's anybody still questioning why this is important, and this is not any other university. Karamoja doesn't need any other university. It's a particular university Karamoja needs at the moment to answer the needs of the time and grow with the region. So this should be given priority. So I think Commissioner, help us, because there is only one commissioner at a time. And now you happen to sit on where others have sat. And with that pen you have as a commissioner, just sit fully on your chair. Don't sit halfway on this matter. So please just apply yourself and prevail, because you're the technical advisor to the PS, to the minister, to a commissioner is a commissioner. If you're a commissioned officer in the army, you know what it means. You are not a non-commissioned officer.
You have all the authority.
All the authority with you. So, and we're just,
Selling the country here.
yeah, we are lucky to have you. Okay? That's why directors have been what and so forth. We have gone back to commissioners in the reorganization of government.
The directors will first up.
Yeah. So they must, you must now, as a commissioner now, help us on this point as we go back. Now come to the third issue of transit. Okay, the Attorney General. Even if there is no precedent, please, the fact that the law is silent, it's not a prohibition. And why not create a precedent for Karamoja? Please, this is what we are trying to say, that help us here. And instead of saying all steps are being taken, what the Vice President is saying, how many steps have been taken? Because if all steps are being taken, then there will be no meeting here. We would not be here. So you tell us the steps that have been taken, the steps that are remaining, and then we help and take those steps. Otherwise, it's not Christmas. It's not a straight line. Even in Damascus, it was a straight road, but Paul met his fate there, the road to Damascus. So we really have to, and became Paul. So from Saul to Paul, and he was put on lockdown. That go to where and then stay there for Ananias is coming to sort you out. He was on lockdown. So by God, so this is really the issue we need to resolve from here. That now on transition, imagine we are losing time. I wish we could do this time, use this time profitably before the swearing of the next cabinet, before the swearing of the next parliament, so that all the necessary paperwork for an act to establish this university is prepared, for us to thrash out all the issues that need to be, when the other people are busy campaigning. So at the technical level, you are ready, okay? So that by the time the next administration comes and the parliament comes, we are ready to move on. So at the moment, to proceed as a private university, I think the bishop has been very clear on this, while the process of becoming a public university is continuous. So, but as the process began, what are we doing? Chapa Mbu Kwanza, when you're there in Chakwanza, when you are marking time, okay? So there are certain things that need to be done. So I think that's really what I would like to say, Your Excellency, the Vice President. And I think we are allies sitting around this table, and I wish we could just come with a time frame, what we are going to do next week, what we shall do next week after, what we shall do, so that we know whether we are bringing the president back, okay, before elections, for that inauguration to take place. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want you to that wants to support you and all your technical staff in your department on the expeditious establishment of KAPATU. And maybe what should be clear also is that the funding issue, which is a directive of His Excellency the President to KAPATU, is not tagged to any condition. The President in his letter is very clear. Even as we are still discussing on the status of KAPATU, whether government, foundation, the task force, he has already directed, give KAPATU 30 million. That one is not tagged to any condition. He has said give it to KAPATU as it is now. Not to wait until it becomes a government institution by law. The day when it becomes a government institution by law is when the minister will move the motion. But the president is saying give them the money, which KAPATU is prepared even to start using for the training itself, which is very rare for the institutions which are beginning. I have seen photos of people who are making bricks in KAPATU, people who are doing some work with their hands, training in KAPATU. So this money, if you want to see what it does, will now be a good coincidence for you, because you are going to name one of the people in the sector to be part of the task force. So it is a money that should not wait until the motion is moved, because the letter of the president is very clear. There is a request from KAPATU, from the bishop, to support KAPATU. Give them this amount as they are. So I think the commission, we should not wait until the motion is moved, because there are so many things which are already taking place in KAPATU, and being led by a team like the bishop. You think that those resources will be squandered? If that is your worry, that one also should be cleared from you, from the leaders that we have in KAPATU. The Mr. Severino will now make responses. I don't know, you are putting up his hand.
I just wanted to give you not the technical aspects with which you normally would speak as the commissioner, but also I will not talk about the legal issues, because that's an important appraisal, or the socio-economic, which is an important part. I'm going to talk a little bit about the political appreciation, because in good policy issues, these five must be. So, the Vice President, Your Excellency, we had a similar issue in Karamoja on Pian Upe. We called the ministry and we sat with them. We said, look, technical appreciation, we are not calling with you about. Socio-economic, we are having points. Legal, no calls. But political, and your government, we also have a political budget, election year budget. So this is how a country is run. So I wanted to request your understanding. So what happened? The ministry went to Karamoja, called everybody, and suspended that program. Very correct response, because they appreciated the circumstances in which we are. Otherwise, NUP was entering, FDC was entering, and when you enter in the areas we don't want you to enter, like I cannot enter your bedroom, even if I'm your friend, I stop in the sitting room. But if I start entering your bedroom, So, the political problem caused by the Ministry of...
Ambassador Eibu is talking about something that happened about 3 days ago.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes. So, when we are talking about these things, I want you as a technical officer to also recognize the importance of the political consideration of this period. Because we're going to have an inauguration, maybe we will live in North. And the president promised Karamoja, he said, we are giving you a university. So, can we have this inauguration? Maybe the ministry is letting us down. Now, that is a very big political crime. We shall not take you to the courts of law, but in the political courts, we're going to mark that one. And we don't want to mark it. So I think you should advise your PS seriously on this matter. My Lord Bishop is a very... Now, the church members are also going to ask, my Lord Bishop, are you really a bishop? You are giving us air. When did this enter the church? And it is beginning to affect. And we are very concerned. And worst of all, the leader, the president and the vice president of Uganda are the topmost position holders of this university. Mr. Commissioner, I think this is a very serious issue because you are debasing. In my school days when we were trying to speak good English, we will say you are trying to undermine and minimize the mobosity of authority. That is not legally, but it is socially understood. So, undermining the mobosity of the Lord Bishop, the President, the Vice President, this is not acceptable. So, we see this and technical jargon will come. The Ministry of Education of Finance will be the but this is not correct. So I think let's understand it. So whoever is playing games, we don't want, and some of us have access. You know, having been head of ISO, having been head of ESO, we can inquire and track and say, when did this stop? When money left this, when we don't want to go into those issues because
And then we as an operative will see my
exactly, she was a CMI, so we don't want rumors and tracking telephones. You know, it is not nice. That's why my brother here was very direct with you. He's a Muchika, he just speaks. And he's a Catholic from the seminary, so he also speaks like that. So understand us, and that's why we are trying to say that be very careful on this. Don't put yourself into the firing line, which may cause problems on both sides. So be careful, because we don't want to hurt you. You are not part of this problem. But as an ambassador, I know how to deliver difficult messages. I was trained. So I wanted to let you know that. So please, let's handle the Vice President with her level. Thank you.
Students seem to be coming out again in the name of the subvention. 2, she also said that if the money is meant for you, it will be for KAPATU and will not go anywhere. 3, when we asked her, said, but where is the 10 billion? She said, the 10 billion is there, but the system has subdivided it in 2 quarters. So we got lost because we were like, but are you saying we should go back to the president and get a directive specifically to the PS? Or do you ask the Minister of Finance, how does KAPATU come here? I think the clarity of that is very, very, very fundamental. The other one is, of course, the question of the supplementary. KAPATU, we have done our paperwork and submitted to the ministry. But like any other person has said here, when you go to finance, there is no KAPATU. Where did it get lost from? Between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Finance? Because we have copies that were received.
Yes.
So why is it not in the Ministry of Finance? I think this just needs to be very clarified, and I agree with you. The questions of time frames are very important. Otherwise, I also appreciate the fact that you were able to speak to the Attorney General, because the Attorney General's understanding also affected the issue of the money. And when we met him, I personally told him that you are the one who reversed the situation that had been created. The PS had gone ahead to release the money. But 5 minutes later, the same fellows were saying the PS was called by the Attorney General to say we will not release because, in his opinion, this is a private university and not a public university. So we even tried to indulge him.
In cabinet the other day, and the money was released to Bishop Stewart University. Is Bishop Stewart University a public university? We were very happy that money was released to St. Joseph's. That university in Yamtanga is called
St. Joseph's University.
Money was sent. The same way His Excellency the President is requesting you to send money to KAPATU. And that is how I raised that this is St. Joseph, very good. This is Bishop Stewart, because those bishops are very good. Said, but where is KAPATU? I raised it. And the minister kept quiet. You are even making me now talk cabinet secrets here. But it's a shame.
So, Your Excellency, I thought that at one point, just to be honest, we are like, is Karamoja still part of this Uganda?
The president that said give. How can the Attorney General say not give?
So we've been like,
and the PS listens. Then the PS also has problems.
Selective listening.
Because she has the letter of the president. It's going to her.
Once we see a blue letter, we just send it and you go ahead and implement. Because there are not many blue letters.
Because what I'm sorry to call you.
No, it's okay.
I like to call people by name. David Bulgolo saying about how work is done in offices. Even in the army, an order should be capable of execution.
Yes.
So that opinion to stop the PS from paying was not capable of execution. Because it does not override the authority of the president. The president appointed the attorney general, appointed the PS now. Who are these two appointed people to overturn his directive? You make the country look like a circus, and yet we all understand our roles and responsibilities. So the commissioner, you have the powers in your hands. You go and do the needful with the PS and implement His Excellency the President's directive. You may now make the responses to issues which were raised in a friendly manner. Because all of us in this room are friends. We don't expect to accuse anyone. And all the leaders who have spoken have not accused you. They are just raising concerns which we think can be fixed here in this conversation. So now I give the floor to the Commissioner and his assistant.
This is the animal in the room. Is a KAPATU is a university. So for me, I think you're right to say let the temper come down. I think you're right. Yeah, because it is not good to raise the temper too much. Because we are one. We are one. I think whether we wear a coat, that we are working with the Ministry of Education and Sports. In fact, we are serving government. It is the way you feel that it is your government. It is the way also we feel it. You see? So I think let the temper come down. We only think now for the country. You remember, many of you remember, I last met you for the first time when we at what? Crest Tower. When actually we got the issue of KAPATU. And I represented the ministry and I came and talked to you. I said, I committed myself that, in fact, I committed the ministry because I was directed to go and be in a meeting, and I ended up committing the ministry. That since now the issue have come out, we shall continue to follow the issue until the end of the process, and I think we are still committed to that. Now, on the issue of the funding, of course, I think now could be, I will think of the way now forward from here now. You see, we are moving, but I think now we need to move in a coordinated manner. You see, when we come here, we are like accusing one another. It is not good. Let's work in a coordinated manner where, if you have information, I told you that time. I said, if you have some information, what you think I don't have it, give it to me. And that's one time when we made a move and the money was put in the budget. You remember I called you? And you told me, hey John, there is these things. I said, no, we don't have that information. Give me that information and we use it. And that's actually how the money came into the budget. Now, that means, for me, I'm thinking that we need to, I don't want to say we should move the meeting from you, but I'm requesting this team also, that let's come down from the high level, we come a little bit at a lower level where we can interact freely, and we bring finance to us together. We sit together, you see, and then we discuss our issues. As common men and common women, things will move. When we come here, this is at a higher level. It is like we are reporting one another. And it is not good. To me, it is not good for the project to move. We should come and say, this is how far we move together. That's my thinking. But now when you come and we talk here, you are talking something that I think for me, I want to be open. What some of the information you have, I don't have it on my table. And so it becomes very new to me. And when you are raising the voice up, I feel like you are reporting me. You see? So that's actually what it is. But I think what Commissioner is saying, one, I think we are going to go back and the issue of transition.
Have you also heard that you are trying to move the KAPATU money to another university, which I will not name? Have you heard that rumor?
For us, as a department,
You have not heard.
I have not heard. But let me say, as a department, the money for
If you have not
KAPATU,
heard, that is very good.
for us, the money
But
for
I have
KAPATU,
personally heard it.
yeah, that means of course, I appreciate the level, for us we're here. So now,
And instead of keeping quiet inside, it is better to share with
you should have shared with us so that we actually come to also we move together. You see, when one time we were stuck, and it was Severino here that called me and said, John, this is the issue. I said, now for us, we do not have that information. Please give me if you have a documentation, and I move now. And we move a milestone. So for me, on the issue of the task force, I think
when you are doing your work, don't discriminate. You remember when we were there together, we used to say every program must have a national character. And you should be patriotic. Deal with the country on equal measure. Don't discriminate.
I was talking on the point of the task force.
Are you still acting PSST? But it in the dimension of home issues. So you should not accuse yourself that you should not blame the issue of having a meeting in a big office. No. The most important thing and the focus is the solution. The area where we are meeting from, or the person who is sharing the meeting, should not be an issue, but the focus should be the solution. So in my view, I think we have just 4 things. To pay KAPATU as per the directive of the President. Establish the task force as expeditiously as possible, so that the task force can unlock all these issues we have raised here on the status of the university, the foundation board, this and that, and also come up with a report to National Council for Higher Education, so that National Council for Higher Education will prepare a recommendation to the minister to move a motion. So Mr. Sejuba, you know the steps. You said I know the steps because we worked together. These were people who used to work for me. They were the ones who were burning candles. So pay KAPATU, set up a task force, let the task force give the report to National Council for Higher Education. Then the 4th one, National Council for Higher Education to recommend to the minister to move a motion. Then prepare the minister the motion, and the minister moves the motion before Parliament is prorogued. I want you to get out of this world when you are very happy people. The team here are also good at mentorship. So some of the points they have made is because they want to mentor you. You still have so many things to do for the country. Mentorship, very important. Don't take offense. Don't take offense.
Your Excellency, with your indulgence. Your Excellency, with your indulgence. Because it is the same ministry. And Your Excellency, he's not the first one to complain. Even Honorable Meyingo complained that they hide information from me. And Your Excellency, I work for Operation Verification as a principal legal advisor. We deal with matters of this nature every day. When the President, the head of state commands, we have no mercy, and before anybody we meet, the President's order must be complied with, whether you like it or not. It's not about persuading you or anything. So the other issue, so Your Excellency, the budget for KAPATU, the documents from the Ministry of Finance, which we have, indicate 10 billion for KAPATU, so much for this, so much for this. So he cannot tell us that the money was mingled up. That's not correct. And that is why my senior friend, Ambassador Ibro and the Honorable Prokora are telling him, you know, we work around, we're in the same government, we know. So when you come here to us, speak the truth. It helps to clear the air. So we talk because we have documents.
I will also bring the Attorney General to tell him to rewrite that opinion with this. And I will attach the letter of His Excellency the President, which is copied to me. I will attach to my letter to him. Because it's misleading the PS. And I will also look for Mama and brief her on the same. The PPS will write a small report about what we are going to do so that I can forward to Mama.
And Your Excellency, with your permission, one more point.
When you go to PSST, the acting, which I love, you are going to tell him one point of pain. Because the task force is in your hands, not him. National Council for Education will connect to that. I think the task force, one person should be from national discrimination. While dealing with KAPATU, I know in the back of my mind that government has already committed to establish Bunyoro and Soka. We need to discuss that in the of mind. So that if the motion comes, and it is in order that all the three, they were moved over, the one of Soroti, Lira and Kabale, there were three universities when they moved the motion. So if they can come, three of them, so be it. Don't you think we should have helped you to do your work? Say the word. Yes. Don't take the mood of Severino. That is how he speaks even when he's speaking normally. Don't take it as a harsh word. Harsh tone that is meant to intimidate you. Even when he's speaking normal things, that is his tone. Like people who speak with a strong voice. But we want you to understand that this matter is urgent.
My brother is from education.
Finally,
Your Excellency, what I wanted to impress upon our friends here is that this team here have been working for so long pro bono, if I may use the words. If you see the capacity of professors, members of parliament, my Lord Bishop's team, who have been working to create everything for this. If you costed it, I think you're already talking about 50 billion shillings. But that is not even the demand. People have worked. Academic registrars have been led by everybody. They have put in so much work. If you see the amount of work done, you would know how Ugandans can actually work to achieve the objectives. So this 30 billion, when you look at it, is a very important and a big thing, but it has not reached what these Ugandans have contributed. It is the same as what the NRA did in the bush. When they sacrificed everything, the result came much later. So I wanted you to appreciate the amount of work these citizens have done. And maybe a lesson can be learned on how Uganda can change. This KAPATU spirit. What did yesterday General Saleh say? When we were talking KAPATU,
the spirit called KAPATU moving across the country.
yes, there's a spirit. We said, by your father, this is a bishop praying to the Lord. He's guiding us and moving us. And it's a serious matter. One day maybe we need to make them meet the whole team. Then they know. Ugandans from Kabale, from Busoga, from Karamoja, Ugandans from Bugishu, from everywhere.
The other team has just flown in from Israel.
Yes, there's a team here from Israel. So it's their own money. If you see how much has been put in, then maybe you'll realize why Severino is in that mood. So you need to welcome, we need to welcome you in the KAPATU spirit, then you will know what it is. It is not anti-you, actually you will be infected nicely. Let me stop there for the moment.
The district of Villaronek?
Lamo.
Of Lamo. People of Otuke. People of... Yes. People understand.
Even sometimes they spill out.
Has affected those people. But even Mr. Sejova, you remember when the geologists were killed? Were they from Karamoja? And many other people have lost their lives in Karamoja from way back who are not from Karamoja. So this is not a Karamoja issue. It's a national matter. The challenge we are trying to solve once and for all, even is a reason which has made Karamoja to remain like that for a long time. Deploying a company to do a road in Karamoja some 15 years ago was not possible. Because they will clear all of you.
Yeah.
So those are the lenses we want the people to understand, to use to look at that problem. In Acholi, that those are the neighboring districts. In also Katakwi. And Katakwi we have 192 kilometers neighboring Karamoja. The border, 192 kilometers. 5 sub-counties. Then in Lamo, there are those districts. In Bisu, Bulambuli. In Kapchora there, Kwen and Mukwa. It's not a small thing. So tell the Attorney General, if you get him, that the money has been sent to private universities. Not now, but even before. And it is in the same spirit that the President has directed the government through the Ministry of Education to send money to KAPATU. As other stages are being handled. That should be very clear. That money is not linked to the first operationalization of the... No, it's not. The President is saying, send the money to KAPATU. And if you do that, then you're even making your work easy. The task force you are going to send will not come back to you looking for money. You don't have money to do this, you don't have money to have a meeting, you don't have money to do this. Inauguration will be very easy. So when you go to Ochaila, I quarreled with him the other day in my office. I called him and I told him all these points, including others which I cannot now talk because those were the cabinet thing. So you remind him that this was one of the things that we quarreled with you about in our office. And finance is a shadow ministry. It was discovered in that discussion because they got a booklet of what they have done. But from what they have done, it was only 10%. And yet they had said they had done 100%. So I am sure he will respond to us on the affirmative. Because he knows what transpired on Monday in government. The President directive is a President directive. And you are saying you can't move money from point A to point B. You can if you get authority from finance. You can get authority from finance and move the money. That one I know. So I want to shorten this meeting by asking the Bishop to say closing prayers. The team which is going to meet the PSS team in the afternoon, I request you to involve Madam Hajat Muslim, the one who is the acting PS of education. Then the team from KAPATU, I don't know who will go to meet PSS team. We can all go.
We're committed.
But I already gave him my mind. I told you. I gave him my mind.
I wanted to request humbly that with the copies received of my supplementary list to the ministry, we would like to ask your guidance for us to move with this copy to the Ministry of Finance.
Move with it. If you have it. Just present it to me. Present it to me.
Even at this audience where we have had some exchange and understanding. Thank you very much. I'm sure where His Excellency is being Kotido, he might mention something about KAPATU. And if we have personal interaction, now I know something to say. Because actually I've been wondering since we met with Mama, things went to a stall. And I wondered, probably His Excellency should have been asking me, what are the updates? And the same thing when we go on the ground, it's most likely going to ask the Bishop, what about the KAPATU that we are pushed on? The project, what is it? So I think this has been an opportune moment before it comes to the region. When we submit, we'll have something also updated with this. Thank you very much, everyone.
Someone told me that Bishop did a lot of educational work in Egypt.
Yes,
And he must be comparing the bureaucracy here with how easy his work was in Egypt on education. I'm sorry to release that secret, but I want the young ones to know. The young who are now old, you are now old.
Yes.
When he was consecrated, his hair was not like that. And you know, some people say that hair turns gray because of stress. Let's not stress the bishop. But thank you for the work you did in Egypt. I got that information from Nairobi the other day when I went for Komesa. See how small the world is. Now he wants to use the same spirit, the same experience to support the most needy in the country. And the bureaucracy is trying to do this. So disappointing. Let's receive the prayer and prepare for it.
God of God, I want to thank once again for this moment we have had together. We offer and put on to your hands our guide, our consolation, and our blessing as we embark on this project for the nation building. Continue sustaining and bless our ministry, bless our work. Bless and guide the political situation of the country. All the officers concerned directly with people. But our God, do not be tired with our requests. But answer us, O Lord, for your Father, who blesses and guides. We ask of thee through Christ our Lord. And Almighty God bless you all, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lord, for blessing us.
Yes.